Victory taking on Sydney FC. And even though Sydney FC might dominate the historical head-to-head, it's Melbourne Victory with the recent good form. In fact, today they are trying to win this matchup for the third consecutive time, and it would be the first time in its history that Victory's won 3 in a row.
Fixture celebrates cultural diversity and inclusion by bringing people together through the sport we love of football. This afternoon we are honoured to have Colin Hunter Jr. welcome us onto the land on which today's match will take place.
Good afternoon and welcome. It is my honour and privilege to be here today. My name is Colin Hunter IV. I would like to start off by acknowledging that this afternoon we are on Wurundjeri country, home of my ancestors and also home to everybody here today. I wish to pay my respects to both elders past, present and emerging, elders from all nations, especially all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander community members joining us here today. Wurundjeri is a part of the Kulin Nation and of the Warong language group. Wurundjeri country extends from the inner city of Melbourne, across to the Great Dividing Range, west to the Werribee River, south to the Mordialloc Creek, and east to Mount Baw Baw. A big thank you to everybody who has helped make this event possible this afternoon. Wominjeka, welcome and enjoy the game. Thank you very much.
So that is the ladder as it stands. Melbourne Victory with a win will go top, otherwise Melbourne City hold on ahead of their match away to the Western Sydney Wanderers tomorrow. You can't see Sydney in that top 6 and that is unfamiliar. A win today wouldn't move them out of 9, but would certainly latch them back onto the conversation to make a charge at the top 6 in the second half of this 23-game home and away season. And so as Melbourne Victory go through the remainder of their pre-match routine, their squad provides some fascination today. They're coming off a 1-0 win against Perth Glory last start. Kayla Morrison scored the only goal, and Jeff Hopkins has seen fit to not change the 11 starters, but there is one big story on the bench. Holly Furphy is back from Santa Clara. The Melbourne girl over at US College has returned, and she will step onto the bench and potentially on for her Ninja A-League debut, with Jess Young dropping out of the matchday squad. And so there's the Melbourne Victory huddle. Alana Janchevsky, you can see there, was the winner last time these two teams met, scored the only goal from the penalty spot. She has 2 in 5 against Sydney FC. The other came when she was wearing the colours of Perth Glory. And so she'll be hoping in her new role as a left wing back to hold the fort today. Sydney FC make one change to the team that drew 0-0 with the Central Coast Mariners last Sunday. Mackenzie Hawkesby has been restored to the starters, and that moves Maddie Caspers to the bench. Ante Juric otherwise looking at a pretty stable squad, including retaining Brianna Edwards in goal after making the big switch, moving Talia Franco back to the bench 2 games ago. So there's the Sydney FC huddle. Of course, they've got a pretty good record at Amy Park, especially against the Victory. Faye Bryson loves playing in Melbourne too. Her one and only A-League goal was for the Central Coast Mariners against the Victory in Melbourne last season. So one of the standout players in defence for Sydney FC. The Englishwoman will also be hoping that she can continue her excellent form, specifically against the Victory. There's Jeff Hopkins, of course, his Melbourne Victory team. They haven't played the most stylish football at times, but they have got results. And that win away to Sydney in late December was a great example of that. Ante Juric, his team currently sports the worst pass accuracy in the league at 66%. But Sydney FC are hoping that their style of playing the ball into space will serve them well. Today's referee is Georgia Ghirardello, and her whistle will get us started here. Sydney FC to attack the right of your screens, and Princess Abini gets matters started. It's the 32nd Ninja A-League Big Blue. Melbourne Victory against Sydney FC. Victory trying to win the Big Blue 3 in a row for the first time in club history. 1-0 away in Sydney when they met back in December, and then it was March of last year when Melbourne Victory beat Sydney FC 4-0 in the final round of the home and away season. So they've got a pretty good recent head-to-head record. And a draw before that means that they are unbeaten head-to-head against Sydney in 3. And you see their Sydney draws have dominated their recent form line, which is why their climb up the table has not been as rapid as they might have hoped after getting off to a poor start. Margot Chevet dispossessed here by Sarah D'Apollonia, who resets at the centre of defence with Victory's captain, Kayla Morrison. Morrison running into the shadows and playing a pass to Nikki Flannery. Now Alani Janchevski, good movement by Alex Chidiac. And Chidiac, can she chase the ball down? She won't. Off the shins after Jordan Thompson's defending. There's the American Thompson, key pillar of Sydney's defence. Her second season at the club after joining as an injury replacement for the player on the ball right here, Nat Tobin, who plays it out to Faye Bryson. Shallow pass, D'Apollonia. Now Laura Pickett, the right back who's pushed up into the attacking half here and wins a throw-in. Pickett, who played all her juniors as a midfielder, so right back at the A-League level is new for her. And another throw-in coming up here. Lots of shouting going on under this throw-in onto the head of Talon Hennecker. Pickett, high boot by Mackenzie Hawkesby, was leaning in. Hawkesby's quick to apologise here, perhaps acknowledging that she got Pickett right on the nose. And Georgia Ghirardello reaching for a card, it seems, for Mackenzie Hawkesby. So the apology may not have been enough here to save the Sydney midfielder from going in the book. The resulting free kick's in a dangerous position as well. Thankfully, Pickett's all right to continue. So the left-footed option is Alani Janchevski, and the right-footed option, Alana Murphy. They're brainstorming here how they might take on this free kick. Janchevski rarely needs an invitation to shoot, so I imagine she's making the case for the direct shot on target here. Victory would love an early goal to set the tone. Just 3 minutes gone. Brianna Edwards waiting in goal for Sydney FC. It will be Janchevski with the direct shot. What a cracking goal! Alani Janchevski! She loves playing Sydney FC, and she's fired up after putting a rocket into the corner. Well, it can barely draw a smile out of the gaffer, but everyone else inside Amy Park is dazzled by that. Alani Janchevski with one of the goals of the season from a free kick. Absolutely let it rip on the left peg, and that is unsavable. Well, Alani Janchevski now has 3 in 6 against Sydney FC. And maybe there's a little message in that. Stop moonlighting me at left back. Play me further up the pitch. Look what I can do. Melbourne Victory do take an early lead. And it's the 21-year-old with her 10th career goal in 60 games, as you saw in the stats there. And indeed, Janchevski goes and resumes playing at left back. Confirmation that Hawkesby did receive a yellow card for that foul that led to the free kick as well. So the number 15 of Sydney FC will have to be on her best behaviour. And given the busy nature of Hawkesby's play in midfield, you might see her duck out of the odd tackle if the chance is there to try and win the ball, because she's a very aggressive player, loves to leave her foot in, loves to press and just test the limits before a foul gets called. That's why she's so good at winning the ball back, but now she'll have to watch her step. As I said, Janchevski rarely needs an invitation to shoot, and moments like that are why. That's just an outrageous bit of quality. And it's set the tone now. Sydney FC chasing the game, perhaps might actually, dare I suggest, be the best thing for them, because they're going to have to show a bit more ambition rather than sit back and let the game play out. right now, there's no impetus to press. If you've only joined us after kickoff, it's only 21 degrees in Melbourne at the moment. So it might be sunny, but it's certainly not oppressive summer heat. Edwards here, having wiped the slate clean and reset after conceding early. We'll be hoping to save the next one like any good keeper. Here's Tori Tumeth. Backtracking from Flannery. You heard it there, right against the touchline. And it quickly spills possession. Tobin with a long ball. Sydney FC looking for the response. Talon Henniker against Pickett. And Pickett concedes the throw in the end. Talon Henniker, 18 years old, already up to 17 appearances though. On a run of starts now for Sydney FC. Has had to bide her time on the bench in the first half of the campaign. Here's Hawkesby. Margot Chevet. Now Lucy Johnson. Jordan Thompson. Johnson. And the pass just beyond the lunge of Lucy Johnson there. There's your goal scorer. We need no excuse to watch this again. What a camera angle this is. And that is unsavable. What a strike into the corner. And down the other end, Courtney Newbon says, I've seen enough of those in training. It's about time another goalkeeper experience what it's all about. Chevsky now with a hopeful ball that runs long. Victory setting up with Nikki Flannery, the number 11. You see there in the shadows. She's a right footer naturally, but starting on the left wing here. Perhaps didn't suit her against Perth Glory last week. We'll see how it works today. Janchevsky. Daplonia. Victory owning the ball early. Murphy, hard against the line. Newbon, able to venture out of the penalty area, plays a 1-2 with Chidiac. And now Claudia Bunge, the New Zealand international defender. Laura Pickett. The underlapping run of Emily Gielnik here. Gielnik getting meaningfully involved really for the first time in the game and winning a corner immediately. Faye Bryson setting herself for the challenge of playing against Em Gielnik today. And Janchevsky will go over and take the corner kick now. That's the penalty area setup. Brianna Edwards organising. Who's marking who? At Tobin as well. So Janchevsky's corner. It is an in-swinger, landing right on the 6-yard box. Johnson's header initially, and the follow-up from Chidiac just kept rising. You saw Chidiac there, tried to not overhit the strike. And even taking a bit of energy off it, it still kept climbing. And it just kept rising, but again, another warning sign for the Sydney FC defence. So, almost 10 minutes gone. Victory's early goal the difference. Sydney FC still trying to grow into the game and find a response. Ball extracted from midfield here, but running from deep is Dos Santos, not really able to pressure Morrison. Sydney coming with a plan, definitely not to press the first pass, but you just see Hawkesby, Abini, that first line of Sydney players, they're standing right at the edge of the midfield third of the pitch. That's when they start to get interested in winning the ball back. Zabini now can't really hurry up Bunge. Chidiac. Murphy looks away from the traffic for an open player. Bunge is the answer. Now Murphy, a show of strength, able to lose Hawkesby and open up a bit of room. And plays the pass very effectively to Chidiac, who can burst forward here. Chidiac, Rachel Lowe lost the ball between her feet. It runs down to Edwards, who's quick to clear away and puts it to the safety of the touchline. Chidiac there was able to change the speed of the attack when she was on the ball there. Pickett. Murphy. And again, Newbon confident to stride some 20 metres outside the penalty area because Sydney FC are happy to stand off for now. Chimeth trying for the intercept, but straight to Murphy. Now the ball is sent back out to Flannery on the wing. Flannery runs into a block tackle from Chimeth. Dos Santos, body checked there by Flannery. Play continues. Chevet, Johnson. Chidiac. D'Apollonia. Pickett, first time ball, Chidiac. Victory were trying for the one-touch passing routine there, but eventually it came unstuck. Now Lucy Johnson plays it to Indiana Dos Santos. Able to stride through the centre of Amy Park, but then finding the next pass is tricky, and Pickett not taking any risks. Hooks the ball away from Talon Henniker, but it was barely a toe poke. And it's going to run down to the line, and it wasn't going out, so Talon Henniker keeps it moving. Hawkesby. Sydney now with a few more numbers committed forward. Chevet. And Chevet's pass sprayed out. Victory get the ball back. Margot Chevet playing in that central midfield role. Murphy. Set Pickett a task, and Pickett meets the ball in stride. And keeps it moving, but a little ambitious. Tobin can't find Talon Henniker. Yanchevsky. Well, Johnson came out and tried to make it a 50-50, but Yanchevsky just got there in the nick of time to keep possession. Bunge now telegraphed the pass, and Chevet intercepted. And now Princess Abini needs support though. Abini holds the ball up, waits for Dos Santos. And now Dos Santos. Well, wants Talon Henniker, who runs wide. And is she able to win a corner? She's not, and she ran offside as well. So things were unfolding slowly but surely there for Sydney FC. Indiana Dos Santos spending a bit more time on the ball will be an encouraging sign to keep building the attacks. And tight call, but you'd have to say a good call there from Avril Beecham, the assistant over on the near side. And a free kick for Sydney here, so they're just starting to wrestle back a bit of territorial control, if not possession. Rachel Lowe didn't really attempt to disguise grabbing the back of Jordan Thompson's shirt there. And so here's the free kick. Lucy Johnson heads it square. And it's nodded out to safety. Tori Chimeth. Long throw here. Abini brings the ball down. Flannery, Yanchevsky and Abini clattered legs, both are down. Abini's able to get back up, but very properly. Good sportsmanship there, both acknowledging that they were in for the ball. Oh, late contact there. Janchevsky, definitely the sorer of the two, but the trainer hasn't been called out yet. Abini is still trying to limp this off. Well, both players eventually on their feet without the sideline having to assist, so that's a good sign. And possession yielded quickly by Sydney FC. Well, I do wonder why, if Abini is still limping, you wouldn't maybe engage the trainer, but let's check back in 30 or 40 seconds time and see if the movement's a little bit more fluent. It's looking slightly better now. Abini takes possession. And given away here to Flannery. Victory out into open space. M. Gielnik bustling through the middle. Gielnik waits for the runner on the outside in D'Apollonia. Now the American Sarah D'Apollonia. Return ball to Gielnik. Sydney have got defenders back in position though, and Hawkesby comes through to take the ball. Talon Henniker trying to run at Pickett here. And Talon Henniker has done well. She's got the better of Pickett and now can stride towards the penalty area. Squares it to Abini. And Abini keeps the ball moving. Dos Santos, headed away by Janchevsky. And the referee will whistle play dead because it's a head injury here, and the trainer is being called out for Alana Janchevsky, who may have the only goal, but she's been in the wars ever since. Here's another look. Indiana Dos Santos. Janchevsky might have already been ducking the head, but it still wasn't enough to get out of the way of the force of that drive from Indiana Dos Santos. Trainer having a word. Doctor perhaps going through the concussion protocols here. We haven't heard a great deal of shouting from Jeff Hopkins' sideline just yet, which is generally an indicator that he's happy with how things are going. And that is the reason that Alana Janchevsky will be desperately hoping to stay out on the pitch, because she's got one. And no doubt Jeff Hopkins will be feeling the same way, because Janchevsky's the second player he's had to engage out of position this season as a left back. Doesn't really have a natural one in the squad at the moment after the retirement of Beattie Goad. So this is very obviously a concussion test taking place here out on the pitch. We've seen the doctor's light. We've now got the paddle there doing more tests. Referee Georgia Ghirardello's right on the scene. Jeff Hopkins having a chin wag with the fourth official, Jack Morgan. So I think we can take it as read that Alana Janchevsky may have passed all of these tests that we've seen her going through here, and will be allowed to continue playing in the game. Well, that was a thumbs up from the doctor, so I suggest that's a pretty good sign there. So it will temporarily be 11 versus 10. Janchevsky's desperately trying to get back out there, and immediately is waved back on by the fourth official. So there'll be a little chunk of stoppage time to account for that at the end of the first half, and maybe a delay which wouldn't have suited Sydney FC given they were growing into the match. Here's Gielnik now, trying to get the better of Bryson. And ultimately the ball runs away. Bryson, went sliding, didn't really seem to catch Gielnik at all. The ball just ran away long. And now a grapple here between Chimeth and Flannery is going to be blown up. Georgia Ghirardello, one of the most senior referees in the Ninja A-League at the moment. Just having a word with Tori Chimeth, who was subject of a very hotly debated incident against the Central Coast Mariners last weekend when she took a throw-in that planted off the head of Brooke Nunn at close range. Victory goes sideways and backwards from the free kick, though. Murphy. Here is Janchevski. Apollonia trying to keep it moving. Chidiac couldn't take possession. Dos Santos back to Chimeth. Ibini desperately trying to keep the ball in, but the line wins. There's the shot count so far. Sydney FC hoping to boost that number to get themselves back into this contest. Victory at the moment seem to have resumed the better since the delay to assess Janchevski's concussion. There's the passing accuracy. To put that in context, Sydney FC is averaging 66% over the course of the season. So they are down on their season average so far today. Here's Chevet winning the ball back with a bit of energy and finding Ibini. And Princess Ibini shows great strength. Now has an uncontested cross, trying to pick out Talon Henniker. It was an ambitious ball. And here's Apollonia chasing down Talon Henniker. And who's getting the decision? Well, Apollonia desperately trying to convince the referee, but Sydney FC get the nod. And now Lucy Johnson has the ball. Hawkesby ghosting forward. Again, another hotly debated call, and this time it goes Victory's way, and Hawkesby can't believe it. And that is textbook Mackenzie Hawkesby, just the late run, almost tiptoeing into the penalty area. And I reckon she's got a pretty good case there. It appeared to slice out of Claudia Bunge, and it didn't necessarily hit the shins of Mackenzie Hawkesby on the way. Victory in the meantime, take the ball and go. Laura Pickett straight into the attacking half. Now Apollonia. Pickett continuing the run here. Laura Pickett loads up across, and this is all and sundry in the box. Well, now a yellow card for Sydney FC manager Ante Juric over on the sideline. Referee Georgia Ghirardello clearly heard something that crossed the threshold to give the coach a formal warning. Janchevski against Dos Santos. Morrison with the back pass. Bunge opts for the long ball. Tobin back to Thompson. Ibini rolls out to the right, plays the early ball. Oh, Hawkesby starting to take up more attacking positions as the half goes on here. Claudia Bunge got the better of her there, but this is something to watch. Sydney FC seemingly instructing Mackenzie Hawkesby to get forward a bit more, support the attack. This is where the game's taking place so far. Victory absolutely dominating possession. And it's reflected in not a great deal of the game taking place down at Sydney's attacking end. Bunge, a little burst of acceleration. Neat layoff there from Apollonia, but Rachel Lowe couldn't take it and go. Chevet instead. Johnson trying to open up a bit of space. Faye Bryson. Now Hawkesby between the lines. Sends it out to Talon Henniker, who lost the ball. Kaylee Talon Henniker, the one goal this season, which was back in November's Sydney derby. Chevet. Hawkesby pops it over the top. Morrison. Oh, Morrison dangerous. And Courtney Newbon able to bat it away almost like a basketball dribble on the goal line and then pick it up on one bounce. It was just an awkward looping header, and Newbon stopped it hitting the post and potentially deflecting back into the field of play. But things have calmed back down, and Victory, well, Sydney might have the ball, but at least Victory are away from their defensive penalty area now. And Courtney Newbon, who's kept 5 clean sheets this season, will be hoping for another one here today. Pretty good strike rate. 5 clean sheets out of 12 appearances, so almost 50% of her games not conceding a goal. And let's not forget, she is, in theory, the second choice keeper at the club, but Lydia Williams has been out all season with a wrist injury and remains out for an indefinite period. Talon Henniker. And the backtracking Gilnick helping out the defence. Bunge. Well, trying to take on the Sydney midfield single-handedly here, Claudia Bunge. Has done it reasonably well, but maybe decides not to get more ambitious than that and resets as the ball goes back to Morrison. Morrison. Good defending by Thompson to jump out onto the pass. Dos Santos tried to shape a ball through for Rubini. Morrison's pass here, well, ends up finding Ante Juric on the Sydney bench. So Chimeth to take the throw in. Ibini nodding it on. Low, challenging late. And that means it'll be a Sydney throw inside their attacking half. Here's Dos Santos. Trying to go all the way over to Talon Henniker. And then D'Apollonia takes it off the feet of Talon Henniker. Tori Chimeth. Dos Santos again, able to roll away from Chidiac. Chidiac had help in the form of Murphy, and that's enough to spill the ball. Morrison. Going for the direct approach here, Kayla Morrison, and does find Nikki Flannery. Her pass without a great deal of power behind it. Tobin clears. Chimeth. Tobin. Now Hawkesby making a promising run. Keeps it moving. Talon Henniker. Offside, second time in the game. Kaylee Talon Henniker has been trapped offside. Getting a few looks at possession here, Talon Henniker, but still yet to really put her stamp on this game. And a look across the line as the assistant referee would have seen it. Lani Anchevsky still appears to be struggling after that knock to the side of the head. There's the Victory bench, all warming up. Got a host of choices there that could potentially be shoehorned into left back. Ella O'Grady, nominally a striker, though perhaps the least likely of them. Maybe they'll be thinking about someone like Sarah D'Apollonia going in there from the players out on the pitch and then bring on a midfielder. It's hard to say. Of course, Victory also without their import right back, Ellie Wilson, the Englishwoman, who's now missed 4 games with an ankle injury. So they are starting to call up more youngsters and put square pegs in round holes. And yet, as things stand, on the live ladder, they are sitting top of the Ninja A-League. So, will this be game over for Alani Janchevski? The player who's delivered us one of the great highlights of the season, not just today's match. Well, there's no activity down at the halfway line. The fourth official, Jack Morgan's, right on the scene here with Janchevski and the physio. So if there is a sub, it's not happening yet. That's the only goal of the game so far. Alani Janchevski's free kick. That came back in the 4th minute. Now beyond the half-hour mark, it is going to be 11 versus 10 at least for one phase of play. And confusion reigns about Alani Janchevski's ongoing involvement in the game. Bunge goes for distance. Over the head of Gielnik. Dapolonia. Murphy and a wrestle with Chevet. Oh, Janchevski is back on. Pickett's throw. Gielnik and Bryson able to win the duel. Clears as far as Murphy. Now Chevet. It's there to be won in midfield. Johnson against Chidiac. And Johnson, you can see the frustration at being blown up for the foul. Chidiac definitely thought she was fouled, but Johnson disagreed. You be the ref. Is there a foul there? I'm not so sure. Johnson might have a sympathetic ear. Anyway, Sydney have won the ball back regardless. Talon Henniker. Hawkesby looking for the underlapping run, but Dapolonia was right there stride for stride. Murphy. Can't find a teammate. Chimeth. Up comes Dapolonia. Goes to Gielnik on the wing. M. Gielnik resumes her duel with Faye Bryson. And Bryson is able to win the ball. Now looks to launch a counter, but there's not much on. Marco Chevet hugging the touchline with the pass. Talon Henniker loses out to Pickett here, and Victory get the throw. It's been a series of throw-ins and clearances by Sydney FC. Who's going to break the holding pattern? Gielnik. Right down to the corner. And this time it'll be a corner kick rather than a throw-in. So Bryson sticking to task, but getting scant reward for it, as Victory now have another set piece. Even though the shadows are creeping across the ground, it's little relief to the players that are playing either on Victory's right or on Sydney's left in this first half. Very busy 6-yard box surrounding Sydney goalkeeper Bree Edwards. Chidiac to take the corner and lands it on the roof of the net. So 10 minutes of regulation remain in the first half, but there will be a very reasonable chunk of stoppage due to a couple of delays for injury. So plenty of time to go before the halftime break. Crowd finding their voice again. They want to see an uptick in the pace of the game. Tobin stumbles on the ball. Rachel Lowe's in the vicinity, but Sydney have got enough outs that they can pass the ball. Just find a throw in here at right back. Janchevski's header. Dapolonia. Under-hit pass from Janchevski sold Murphy into trouble. And now Sydney FC have got numbers. Lucy Johnson stepping through midfield. Out to Abini on the right. Who's making ground in the middle, though? Princess Abini. Return ball here. Johnson tried to whip it in. It was well defended and cleared. Thompson. Now Dos Santos. Able to emerge from a 1-on-2. Great play by Dos Santos. Lucy Johnson appealing for the throw in here. And Sydney do get the nod. Chevet trying to go direct. The ball caught a deflection though. Pickett. Wrong-footed Gielnik with the pass, but Gielnik course corrects. Rides the tackle. Ball ends up at the feet of Dapolonia. Bunge. Pickett keeps the ball moving. Dapolonia. Bryson engages. Gives away the throw. Pickett tried to throw it into the box, but Bryson headed away. Morrison stepping up from centre back. Rachel Lowe, dispossessed. Dos Santos. Indiana Dos Santos was thinking about a long ball, decided against it. Goes back to Thompson. Over the head of Janchevski it goes. Lowe, able to dispossess Dos Santos. Chidiac mopping up. Janchevski driving it long for distance. Onto the head of Thompson. Game's starting to become a little bit more end-to-end. The more it stretches, the more it might suit Sydney FC. Dapolonia. Kayla Morrison. Hoping for Flannery. Chimeth. Grab of the shirt was clear to see. Referee agrees. Free kick given. Here's another look. Stretching away, and Tori Chimeth winning the foul. However, Sydney were hoping for a quick restart, and they haven't got it. So now at the feet of Lucy Johnson they go. Thompson. Oh, well played by Rachel Lowe. Just came in from the blind side and picked the pocket of Margot Chevet. Battle resumes in midfield. Hawkesby. Chevet trying to slide it through the channel. Goalkeeper stayed back on the line here, Newbon. Has to be careful with Talon Henneke pressing right up. And now Pickett desperately trying to clear from right back and giving possession away. So maybe a few, well, you wouldn't say shaky moments from Victory, but signs that their concentration is just starting to wane at the end of the first half. And this could be Sydney FC's opportunity to press for an equaliser here. Faye Bryson with a long throw. Abini's flick header. Talon Henneke controlled the volley and put it just wide of the post. Oh, much better from Sydney FC, and Kaylee Talon Henneke, who's been desperately trying to get into shooting position, almost created her own shot there. The outstretched right arm of Courtney Newbon wasn't required to keep it out of the back of the net. You just sensed there that Victory had switched off mentally, though, and Sydney FC are looking to make the most of it here. Bunge. Gielnik lays it back. Dapolonia, hands full with Hawkesby. Gielnik can't quite link up with Pickett. feel like it's an important couple of minutes coming up in the match because Sydney FC just starting to get on top. Melbourne Victory perhaps under pressure significantly for the first time in the match. And a bit of free possession right here for Courtney Newbon will be the sort of breather that Victory are hoping for. Murphy trying to turn defence into attack, but that pass won't do it. Chimeth bounces under the foot of Lucy Johnson, straight back to Claudia Bunge. Bunge driving it out to Flannery, tough ball to control off the shoulder. Flannery now takes possession. Rolls it back to Janchevski. Murphy just a little hesitant on the ball, and Chevet and Dos Santos came in to take it away. Chevet trying to burst forward. Now Talon Henniker. Neat little drag step to keep possession. Talon Henniker running wide and got the shot away. Held on to by Courtney Newbon. It was a tough angle for Kaylee Talon Henniker. Once she ran wide in the penalty area, it was always going to be hard to generate the power. It was really more just a little dink on the non-preferred left foot rather than a full-blooded strike. It's a couple of shots in the space of 3 minutes, though, for Kaylee Talon Henniker. And again, Sydney FC, they're building right at the end of the half. Giving indicators here that this 1-0 scoreline might not hold the way it did back when these teams last met on the 28th of December. Johnson, square ball, gives possession away. Flannery is going to shoot from distance here. Nikki Flannery, and Brianna Edwards was already back on her line, so no risk of getting lobbed. Interesting choice by Flannery there. Almost felt obligated to give it a go due to the high turnover. Gilnick off the body of Chevet. Tobin, Hawkesby dispossessed by Dapolonia. Chidiac now firing, and it did catch a deflection. Well wide of the target in the end. Let's have another look here at this strike from Alex Chidiac. Well, I seemingly thought it caught a deflection off Margot Chevet, but central referees paid a goal kick, so that decision stands. And just under 2 minutes of regulation to go before we find out how much stoppage at the end of the first half. Melbourne Victory now trying to bring a bit of balance back to general play because Sydney had been getting on top. Dos Santos fouled here by Murphy. Morrison allowing the ball to bounce because she wanted to turn and knock it back to Courtney Newbon. Bunge. Newbon into a hurried clearance this time, but it's a good clearance. It found feet. Rachel Lowe wins the foul as well. Got to say, well played, Courtney Newbon. Bit of chippiness here. Rachel Lowe, of course, a long-time Sydney FC player. Was never a teammate of Jordan Thompson, though, so perhaps no love lost between those two. Here's Murphy. Able to weave around Chevet, but goes back to Chidiac. Janchevski, first-time ball, straight to Chimeth. Chevet. Faye Bryce breaking out to the left flank. Was hoping for Talon Henniker, but not enough behind the pass. Laura Pickett returning it with interest. Pickett has Dapolonia on the wing. No cross was the loud shout from Nat Tobin at the centre of defence. Indeed, Sydney FC sit behind the ball as Melbourne Victory pass it around, looking for an opening. Morrison, neat layoff there from Gilnick. Lowe was nearly away as we tick into 4 additional minutes at the end of the first half. Melbourne Victory having held a 1-0 lead since the 4th minute. And with the half-time break in sight, there has been a noticeable uptick in the pace of the game as the players know that a 15-minute rest is not too far away. Morrison looking to take the game on with an ambitious pass that's blocked by Hawkesby. Straight down to Abini. And then Dos Santos can't thread it back through to Hawkesby. Murphy. Newbon goes for distance on the clearance. Chimeth with the volley. And volleys it out. So Sydney FC options on the bench. They've got two strikers in Shay Connors and Amber Luchtmeyer. So they've got some firepower to chase this game. Shay Connors, of course, returning to the scene of her last goal. Her last goal and only goal in her last 25 Ninja A-League games. Oh, bit of tunnelling right inside the penalty area too. Referee did not reach for the whistle. Murphy was underneath Dos Santos there. Play continues in the meantime. Of course, there's no VAR in the Ninja A-League, so Sydney won't be getting a penalty. But gee, they had a little question there. Low, dispossessed. Chevet. Hawkesby. Waiting and waiting, doesn't like the idea of a long diagonal ball, but it's the only option on, and ultimately over the head of Kaylee Talon-Henniker. So, is this a foul? Gee, I wonder if that happens anywhere outside the penalty area, it's almost certainly a foul. Sydney have got a pretty good case there, I reckon, that a jumping unprotected player was legged by Alana Murphy. Anyway, you be the ref at home. Our central referee today, Georgia Ghirardello, did not see anything wrong with it. Janchevsky, first time ball. And great industry from Lowe against Thompson, who refused to be beaten. Johnson. Chevet ran into trouble in the form of Dapolonia. Janchevsky. Last minute of the 4 additional at the end of the first half. Lucy Johnson goes for the long ball. And that one will eventually bounce down to Courtney Newbon. Pickett bided her time over the pass. It's because Gielnik was being very closely guarded by Faye Bryson. Gielnik's flick header on. Dapolonia. Gielnik breaking into the box. Knocked away by Margot Chevet. Well defended. Ebini off the chest. Has to go and chase it down. Only seconds remaining in the half here. Give away like that. Might invite victory on for one more attack, though. Chidiac wants to calm everything down. Wants to hear that halftime whistle. And indeed does. And so an early goal from a brilliantly struck free kick by Alana Janchevsky, who then went on to have to undergo a concussion test and perhaps was flagging at times in the half, but she has made it to the halfway point of the game. Nothing that Brianna Edwards could do about that free kick in the Sydney FC goal. And that moment of magic is the difference between the two teams. At halftime, it's Melbourne Victory 1, Sydney FC 0. So let's get into the match highlights from the first 45 of this Big Blue. And this was Alana Janchevsky's left-footed free kick. She let rip and put it in the top left corner. A moment of quality. And that is as good a goal as we've seen this Ninja A-League season. How good's the sound as well as it ripples into the net. That drew the plaudits of all and sundry, other than those wearing the Sydney FC shirts. Alex Chidiac had a half-volleyed chance here that just kept rising. And then Sydney FC, it took them a while to build into the game, but this moment here was entirely a victory zone creation. Kayla Morrison almost making things difficult for her own goalkeeper, Courtney Newbon. Kaylee Talon-Henniker manufactured a shot here and put it just wide of the post. It's probably Sydney FC's best chance for an equaliser during the game. This one, a far higher degree of difficulty, but Talon-Henniker still made it a shot on target. And then This moment here, Alex Chidiac. Oh, it was just a tumbling shot wide in the end. It looked deflected, but indeed it wasn't. And so that one just a shot wide. What do the underlying numbers say? Well, not much XG being created from the 3 shots on target in the game. Victory territorially with the upper hand, and also possession very much dominant at this point of the game. They enjoy the halftime lead thanks to Alana Janchevsky by 1-0.
Enjoy your time at the pitch, string up Mirabella, small-sided football. Give away a signed Melbourne victory jersey. As it goes down here on the pitch, let's see Melbourne victory fans down here to take part.
Victory enjoying a 1-0 lead at halftime of the Big Blue thanks to Alana Janchevsky's early goal. The Ninja A-League continues through the weekend. Let's take a look at tomorrow evening's match between Newcastle Jets and Canberra United, and hear from the Canberra camp, their goalkeeper Sally James and first coach Anthony Jagranek.
Any 3-game week is huge, and to get 9 points is obviously ideal, but it can be a lot worse than taking 6 points out of a 3-game week. And we took a couple of battle scars out of it and copped a few injuries, but to come away with 6 points was pretty positive overall. Super proud of the group and of the girls. From day one, we've talked about a 24-player squad. Not 1 or 2 players. So we're preparing for every player to be ready to go at any match, at any minute, and with anything can happen. So they all get the information. They're all putting in equal amounts of effort at training, and have the trust from the technical staff that when we need them, we can rely on them, and they're proving that in spades at the moment. We're a little bit slow on Monday and Tuesday, to be fair, and fatigue's a massive part of it halfway through the season, but last week as well, and mentally fatigued as well. So that are well-earned day off yesterday, but full focus on Newcastle now, starting this morning and into Saturday night's match. The Jets are a better football team than the ladder suggests. They've got a clear style of play, and when they execute, they're phenomenal. I think that they've had their own injury concerns and a few, disciplinary concerns as well, which has hurt them on the ladder. But them at their best, and they showed that against Wellington Phoenix. Scored in the first minute, and were clearly the better side the first half on the weekend away in Wellington. So to go having to travel to Newcastle and play them at home against what they can do is a big task.
Yeah, I'm just so happy to be playing. It's been a couple of seasons that I've been in the league, kind of a little bit maybe like in and out. But I've just been so happy to be home, be working under Ant and with all the girls. I'm just enjoying myself, and I think you play best when you're happy and when you feel confident. So yeah, finals, I think it's always something that's in the back of your mind, but you don't want to think about it too much. You don't want to put too much pressure on yourself and then start hyper-analysing, and then you start to evaluate the table and start doing all the maths and stuff. But I think in reality the most important thing is just to focus on each game as it comes and just try and do your best. A very tough physical game. Jets like to get stuck in. I think we had a draw with them last time when they came to play us here in Canberra at McKellar. So yeah, I think we're prepared. We'll do a lot of work this week to make sure we're tactically ready, and yeah, expecting a physical game.
Sally James there, the Canberra United goalkeeper. Well, let's stay on this match now with former Matilda Teresa Polias and the preview hosted by Narlene Masto.
We've got some late Saturday night action in the Ninja A-League where Newcastle Jets go head-to-head with Canberra United. Teresa, the Jets haven't picked up a win in their last 6 games, which is pretty disappointing for them. Why do you think they've been kind of easy for oppositions to break down?
Look, I believe what it comes down to is them not capitalising when momentum during games is in their favour. So they're second in the competition for big chances created, and they just haven't been able to convert. And what tends to happen is that they'll then have the odd defensive lapse, which they then get punished for. So their lack of finishing chances stops them from getting back into the game.
And we saw that kind of concentration lapse against Wellington Phoenix, so we'll hope that they don't have to kind of drop a lead again. But do you think that their position on the ladder currently is more kind of indicative of the standard of competition rising, or is it also a mix of their disappointing results?
Look, they're a very exciting team to watch, and it's so hard to ignore that stat that they are second in the league for big chances created. It's just such a telling stat that you can't ignore, and perhaps that tells you that they're their own worst enemy in games.
As for Canberra United, they'll be buzzing coming off their win, and it was 20-year-old Sophia Christopherson didn't get the goal. It did go down as an own goal. However, she was very impressive. Has she been one of the standout rising stars for you?
Yeah, look, she's in electric form at the moment. It's great to see her development as a player in this league, and what I love most about watching her play is how dynamic she is and her ability to get into good areas on the field. She did that against Western Sydney, and that led to that headed goal.
Now, what do you think makes Canberra United a serious top 4 contender?
Look, they're certainly on a good run at the moment, and they're getting the results they need to climb the ladder steadily. But they're tied on points for 6, and they're 4 points behind Brisbane Roar in 4th spot. So they absolutely can make the 4.
Well, let's see if they can pick up all 3 points against the Jets, who'll be looking to try and put that loss behind them against Wellington Phoenix. You can catch this one live on Paramount Plus or 10 Play.
A look at some of the action from the Big Blue first half. Indiana Dos Santos there with a shot that left Alani Janchevski needing a concussion test, and then Dos Santos on the end of a bit of interesting physicality, including perhaps a penalty shout right there for Sydney FC that ultimately was waved away by the referee, and it means that the Sky Blues are drawing a blank at half-time. They trail 1-0. Melbourne Victory trying to win the Big Blue 3 times in a row for the first time in the history of the Ninja A-League. And today's game is one of many as part of a bumper summer of football.
It's football's hottest summer.
Well, it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Well, that is just pretty to watch.
78 games across 28 days.
That is unbelievable!
It's the A-League's biggest summer of football ever.
Oh my goodness, what a strike!
Action-packed fun for everyone these holidays. Family passes start from only $24. Search A-League's tickets online to get your tickets today.
So the summer of football rolling on here with the second half of this Big Blue. Melbourne Victory leading 1-0 against Sydney FC. And Gielnik and Rachel Lowe, 2 of the players leading the line for Victory, but it's Alani Janchevski's goal the difference. The problem is our main protagonist from the first half did suffer a knock to the head after scoring that goal, and it looks like her number might be up, because that is young defender Rosie Curtis who's coming on here at the halftime break. And yes, it is the number 66 of Alani Janchevski that's up on the 4th officials board. So Curtis, who has never started an A-League women's game, still comes on for appearance number 13 of her young career, the 20-year-old. And Kayla Morrison, who at times has to double as a babysitter in that young defence, is giving her plenty of instructions here. So Janchevski off, Curtis on, and the only scorer of a goal in this game won't start the second half as Melbourne Victory kick off, leading 1-0. And as things stand, holding top spot on the live league table as well. Sydney FC seeing fit to resume the game with the same 11 that started the match. And they'll be hoping for a bit of new energy straight out of the rooms as they go chasing this game, which currently is the same scoreline as when these two teams met back in December at Allianz Stadium. Ante Juric is on a yellow card from the first half. The Sydney FC coach, he talked his way into the referee's book. The only other yellow card belongs to Mackenzie Hawkesby, Sydney FC's midfielder, wearing the number 15. What minute will the Sky Blues look to the bench as they hunt an equalising goal is perhaps the burning question if they can't find one in the early minutes and exchanges of this second half. There's confirmation of the change. So Rosie Curtis is on and appears to have been a like-for-like swap, going straight in at left back. Definitely not her preferred position, Curtis, but the situation has dictated that need as Bunge goes in with a full-bodied slide challenge and keeps the ball away from Hawkesby. Here's Gielnik coming back to help out the defence. Laura Pickett. Bunge will go for distance. Aerial duel deflecting off Chevet. Chidiac sees Flannery breaking out into space. Flannery takes possession. Keeping the ball here, Nikki Flannery. Switching it back to Gielnik. Still a long way from the target, and a loose first touch there from Gielnik, and she went chasing it there and will do well to avoid a card here. Yep, the referee, Georgia Ghirardello, is reaching for the pocket, and M. Gielnik will become Melbourne Victory's first player to receive a booking today for that foul on Faye Bryson. Just see that touch there, running too far out in front, and yeah, a pretty clear-cut decision. Gielnik wiping out the English defender with that trailing leg. But all amicable as Bryson got back up to her feet. Here's Talon Henniker for Sydney FC. And Laura Pickett able to wrestle possession away. It's a battle of the 18-year-old winger against the 20-year-old right back. These two have had plenty of work that they got through over in the sun in the first half. Now they find themselves in the shade, but still busy. Murphy around the corner. D'Apollonia to her own advantage, trying to keep the ball moving at all costs. Tobin. Now Gielnik out in front of Rachel Lowe. Lowe plays it to Chidiac. Chidiac driving to the edge of the box. Chidiac deflected high. Not quite away by Thompson. Still dangerous here. Flannery. Chidiac gets a second go at it. Low, rolled, and then the ball is deflected away. And eventually finds its way out for a victory throw. Sarah D'Apollonia steps around Margot Chevet. Chevet desperate to get back goal side. Here's Indiana Dos Santos. Tori Tumeth up against the victory sub, Rosie Curtis. Tumeth, more of a hit and hope than a meaningful pass, and it's just booted away by Morrison. Curtis. Morrison has got Princessa Beanie and Mackenzie Hawkesby trying to chase possession. Chevet. Murphy. D'Apollonia. Flannery. Not a natural left footer playing over on that wing, so we'll always turn back inside to try for the right foot. Jordan Thompson's got position here. Flips it down the line. Dos Santos. Back to Tobin, bit of a hot potato. We've got plenty of numbers around the ball, but Sydney FC find a way through. Ibini. Princessa Beanie can weave into the middle of the pitch. Saw the run of Faye Bryson getting forward. Bryson cuts inside. Bryson takes on the shot. Locked away, and now Victory in the blink of an eye are into their attacking half. Game starting to stretch. Flannery, 1-2 with Rachel Lowe. Still Flannery, trying for that burst of acceleration, but can't get the better of Thompson. Around the corner here, Chimeth gets it away. Claudia Bunch. Happy to turn back and play it to central defensive partner Kayla Morrison, who described their combination like telepathy after last week's win against Perth. Here's Lowe. Laura Pickett hasn't been afraid to get forward in this game. Away from right back, and she'll have to retreat to defence here. Flick headed by Hawkesby is going to creep out in the end, right in front of the Victory bench. Pickett goes down the line. M. Gilling, a good target to aim for. Brings the ball under control and then steps away from Talon Henniker. Back to Pickett. Murphy. Morrison, risky pass, picked off by Johnson. Out in front of Dos Santos. And now Morrison is backtracking. Plays it to Newbon. Danger not yet averted. Lucy Johnson continued the run. Through comes Thompson with a volley. Now things do calm down a bit. Morrison. Chidiac. Curtis. Don't forget, the men's Big Blue follows this game. You can watch it right here on Paramount Plus. And if you are watching today's A-League women's match on 10 Play, don't forget to switch over to Paramount Plus after full time so you can enjoy the Big Blue in the Isuzu Ute A-League men's. Chevet. Ball got stuck between the feet. That gave Victory half a chance to win possession back. And they do, and it's at the feet of Curtis. Right for the incisive pass. Oh, and it works. Dapolonia actually ended up hitting the standing leg, but she's gone and retrieved the ball. Now low. Nat Tobin tried to tackle the ball away, but couldn't make contact. Now Murphy. It's been a long, winding phase of play, this, but neither team really near each other's penalty area at the moment. A bit of a midfield battle at present. Sydney FC trying to change all that. Dos Santos went for the ball through the middle, but couldn't split the defence. Bunge. Low, a fresh air swing at the ball. Bunge to Gilnick. Claudia Bunge, you see there, it's Faye Bryson pressing all the way up. And now M. Gilnick takes the ball away. I was hoping for Dapolonia, but across came Tobin. Now Chevet rolling into midfield. Shot on target. Count hasn't changed in the first 9 minutes of the second half. And the passing accuracy, Victory retaining the ball better. Sydney FC, they don't play a high possession or a style that requires necessarily retaining the ball. It's all about the right pass to send someone into space. And that's reflected there by Sydney now dipping below 40% possession. Dapolonia. Pickett. And eventually the players can take a breather because it's out for a throw. It's a good 2 or 3 minutes of the ball just being passed around at both ends. Now it's back live again, and Gilnick couldn't control it off the head. Pickett. Deflecting off Hawkesby to Bryson. Chevet in traffic. Out to Hawkesby. Hawkesby is going to bend out well beyond the run of Kaylee Talon-Henniker. So not a great deal to change Sydney FC's fortunes in the first 10 minutes of the second half so far. They do have 2 strikers on the bench, Shay Connors and also Amber Luchtmeyer. They've got central midfielder Maddie Caspers, and, well, Abby Lemon can be deployed in defence. This is something of a utility player. They're all warming up, including the backup keeper, Talia Franco, at the moment. So exactly which sub Sydney FC opt for first remains a mystery. Gilnick. Headed back inside. Chevet plays it out towards Talon-Henniker. Starting very deep in the defensive half here with it all to do, and Alex Chidiak, well, a bit of hustle there, and now conjecture over who's got the throw. Long throw, and Pickett out positions Gilnick. Oh, and Gilnick, if that was a shot, it was from a very tight angle. And if it was across, well, it went off the outside of the boot rather than the inside. Sydney still trying to break out of their defence here, and again another pass that hugs the line. Referee saying it went over. Laura Pickett's had the ball in her hands a lot in this second half, a lot of throw-ins down this near sideline. For whatever reason, it's a game that is skewed towards the right flank of Victory and the left flank of Sydney FC. Bryson throws it out in front of Talon-Henniker to go chase. Against the byline, and Talon-Henniker wins a corner. Nicely done. Sydney FC get a set piece. And a second half that hasn't quite had the attacking explosion they might have hoped for. Maybe a corner could be the answer here. Dos Santos wasting no time over the corner kick, and that was honing in on the target. Courtney Newbon bats it away. That'll almost certainly go down as a shot on target there from Indiana Dos Santos. There have been 4 Olympico goals direct from corners in the Ninja A-League this season. Indiana Dos Santos nearly made it 5. Just before the hour mark, a spark for Sydney FC. Chimeth. Ibini. Thompson's long ball. It's going to bounce down towards the line and have a bit too much on it. So let's have another look at this corner kick. Dos Santos right in at the near post. And it's good goalkeeping by Newbon to leap and bat the ball away. And here is the first sub of the game for Sydney FC. It's Kaylee Talon-Henneke coming off and Abby Lemon coming on. So Talon-Henneke did have a couple of shots on goal in that first half, and Abby Lemon with 1 career goal to her name. That came in March of last year against Western United. She's on, and for now it looks as though it is like for like, playing on the left side of a front 3. So I mentioned Lemon's a bit of a utility player that comes on wherever Sydney FC has a need. And perhaps Ante Juric has decided today the need is out on that left side of attack. Here's Dos Santos, holding off 2 opponents in midfield, but not able to complete the pass. Chidiac darting away from Chevet, advantage given as well. Alex Chidiac off and running. Chevet back in for more. And so she's committed 2 fouls on the same phase of play there, and Alex Chidiac asking, ref, where's the cards? Margot Chevet wise to leave the scene. So here's a look at the second foul that has led to the free kick. It's right on the edge of shooting range. If Alana Janchevsky was still out there, you'd say it's probably in shooting range, but Chidiac, who last time she played was able to draw not 1 but 2 yellow cards from Tian McKenna of Perth. This occasion, no booking. Margot Chevet just gives away the free kick. Edwards has got the complication of about 55% of her net in shadow and the other 45% in the sun. You see the sun hitting the side of her face right there, the goalkeeper. 3 in the wall. Alana Murphy can shoot from range. And Murphy opts to go for the pass, bending it into the 6-yard box. A couple of half-hearted shouts for handball, but I think the offside flag is going to have a say instead. Indeed it does. So who's straight offside? Well, a couple of players, Flannery and at the base of the line, and then up at the top, the player that was being aimed for was Kayla Morrison, who stole half a metre. A couple of Victory players transgressing on that occasion. A beanie with a layoff. Abby Lemon, what a super sub this would be. Lemon! Well, it's a shot on target. The goalkeeper had it covered. And Abby Lemon, is that the catalyst that can get the Sky Blues back into this game? Dos Santos, Hawkesby. Well, an errant touch from Hawkesby that gives possession away. Ball bobbling around the edge of Sydney's penalty area. Dos Santos burst through but knocked it out for a goal kick. So Victory, who've made 1 forced change in this game with Alana Janchevsky off at half-time. Maybe they need to start thinking about fresh legs as Sydney start to take over. Johnson round the corner and just bouncing onto Newbon again. More work for the goalkeeper to get through though. And Victory haven't exactly cleared their defensive lines here. Bunge. Margot Chevet has never scored in the Ninja A-League. Chevet! And that just kept rising. Well, chances in quick succession for Sydney FC now. You can feel the turning tide of the game. Chevet on the left foot there. Maybe the goalkeeper had it covered. Margot Chevet, who started her career at the Wanderers and has spent the last 2 seasons at Sydney FC. Yet to score in her 32 Ninja A-League matches. Courtney Newbon, perhaps wise, just to slow things down a bit here because Sydney have enjoyed a little spell on top in the game. Ibini, Dos Santos. Flips it back towards Ibini, and now the shot. Speculative from Hawkesby. Not able to dip it in time. But again, that is 4 Sydney chances in the space of about 5 minutes. They are starting to come with far greater frequency than the first half. And you see Hawkesby there. A snapshot around the corner, not able to keep it down. Just the 1 goal so far this season, Mackenzie Hawkesby. It came in Unite round against Melbourne City in January. Oh, in November, I should say. Lemon. Ibini. Couldn't trap the ball. Chidiac. Alex Chidiac. Not much on in the attacking half here, so keeps the ball as long as she can, but now it's given away to Chumeth. Dos Santos. Hawkesby. Back to Dos Santos. Sydney have got numbers in the box here. Flipped outside the area, though, away from all of those numbers. Tori Chumeth, the centre-back, had got forward there. And Sydney FC perhaps happy to leave just a couple of defenders back as cover. One of them was Thompson. Can't find Dos Santos with that pass. But again, signs that Sydney FC are willing to try things and give it a go. Getting back into the game. Murphy. Chidiac. Difficult pass to control for Gielnik, but it did catch a deflection, so it'll be a victory throw. Curtis. Lucy Johnson. Tobin. Abby Lemon. Brings out the diagonal crossfield ball. Dos Santos chasing it down to the corner. Indy Dos Santos. Ibini. Whips in across Ibini. Headed away by Morrison. And then headed out by Curtis. Looks as though word has come for the long throw here because Tori Chumeth is the exponent of the long throw in the Sydney team. He's going to run up to the line and throw it to Ibini right at the edge of the box, trying to roll the defender. And now the shot's on from Tobin, who'd snuck forward from the centre of defence. Didn't quite catch it the way she might have hoped there, Tobin. Dos Santos. Chumeth. Off Gielnik. And now there is going to be activity on the bench, and perhaps not a moment too soon with Victory starting to flag. And this is a special moment, a Ninja A-League debut for Holly Furphy. She is actually a Melbourne girl who played for the Yarra Jets and also the Victorian NTC before going to college at Santa Clara. And now she makes her debut coming on for Sarah D'Apollonia at 22 years of age. And if the name's familiar, she's got 2 brothers involved in different sports. Joe Furphy, who was on the books of the Geelong Cats as an AFL player, and younger brother, Johnny Furphy, who's in the NBA with the Indiana Pacers. But Holly has carved out a pretty good football career for herself. She's a former young Matilda. And it'll be interesting to see where she plays. She's on the ball right here and announcing herself to the Ninja A-League straight away, but not able to get the better of Nat Tobin. It's out for a throw. So Furphy, who spent 3 seasons at Santa Clara over in the United States, scoring 4 goals in 36 appearances for them, is back playing for her hometown team. Bunch. Murphy out to the right flank. Nikki Flannery loads up across here. Flannery, oh, too close to the keeper, and did get battered down by Bree Edwards. No attackers in the vicinity, really. To the centre of defence, maybe just for now. Nat Tobin appears to be taking up a position in midfield, so whether that's just the result of broken play and they'll swap back in a moment, or whether it's a permanent change, I guess we'll find out. Abini on the turn. Hawkesby taking on Curtis. Hawkesby got to the ball, kept it in, and won a corner kick. It's good persistence there from Mackenzie Hawkesby as we tick down to 20 minutes of regulation to go in the game. Another look here at how Hawkesby refused to give up on a ball going out right down at the byline. And Curtis ended up having to concede the corner kick. So is this Sydney FC's moment to draw level? Oh, the corner driven straight to Alex Chidiac. Bit of an anticlimax as far as the Sky Blues are concerned. Flannery's sprinting after that ball, but it's Faye Bryson who's in a better position to knock it back into the attacking half. Awkward for Curtis. Now Nat Tobin. Out to the right wing. Nat Tobin, and wins another corner kick. And it looks as though that switch into midfield is permanent for Tobin. It's been sent up the park in Sydney FC's search for an equaliser. And now Sydney are going to respond with a change of their own. Maddie Caspers, who scored right here at Amy Park in this corresponding fixture last season, and Amber Luchtmeyer, the young striker, who's coming on as well, the reigning Golden Boot in NPL New South Wales. Lucy Johnson and Indy Dos Santos are the 2 players coming off. So fresh legs for Sydney FC. A couple of their young guns, Caspers and Luchtmeyer, both members of the most recent Young Matildas under-20 national team. Just in time for this corner from Hawkesby. In at the near post, skimming on. A scrap in the box. Thompson, the closest Sydney player, couldn't get a goal-bound touch. Chevet. Now Lemon. A teasing cross. Morrison. Caspers. Oh, a foul. Play whistle dead. That was nearly the perfect introduction for Caspers. Instead, Victory out of trouble. Let's take another look at Kayla Morrison and that shove there from Tori Tumeth, drawing the attention of the referee. Furphy. Now Alana Murphy. Crossfield switch. Flannery's gone over to the right flank. No more playing on the left for Nikki Flannery, and she looks back at home already, and that's a corner kick. And the addition of Holly Furphy has allowed Nikki Flannery to switch back to her preferred position, which is very much playing over on the right side of attack. And Victory have a corner of their own. And Gielnik, the obvious target to aim for at any set piece. They've got Kayla Morrison, Claudia Bunge, spoiled for choice in the air here, Melbourne Victory, as they try to score a second goal. Chidiac's corner. High to the far post. Edwards is up. Both teams think it's theirs, so Bunge just keeps it in. Murphy, second time ball. Gielnik was up. Flannery can't get over the volley, and it still requires a save away. Sydney trying to clear their lines, and there's been a foul. Luckmeyer knocked over, and Rachel Lowe was the player that gave away the free kick. Well, that second ball was really dangerous. It didn't quite catch Gielnik's head, and then Flannery shinned it, really. It was an awkward up and under. Goalkeeper still had to get 2 fists on it. The game may have drifted at times since Victory took that early lead, but it's going to take an almighty effort for that 1-0 score to hold to the finish, because Sydney FC have made some aggressive changes here, and they know their season, it's not quite on the line yet, but if they do lose today, they will be stuck 8 points out of the top 6, and that is with current 6th place Western United away in Adelaide this weekend. Flannery. Furphy came through. Maybe nicked it off the head of Gielnik in the end. And the young Ninja A-League debutante there. Certainly quite a tall player herself. Not quite as tall as Gielnik. Of course, younger brother Johnny's 206 centimetres, so it's a tall family. Smart play from Curtis. Growing in confidence the more time she spends out on the pitch. And now Curtis is the senior player in that duel, because Luckmeyer's only 18. So the 20-year-old improvised left back is now the more senior player out there. It's the nature of the Ninja A-League. 15 minutes of regulation to go. Pickett. Flannery. Around the corner from Flannery, can't bring Pickett back into the equation, so throw in here for Faye Bryson. Skimming off the head of Pickett. Caspers has stolen a march here, and Chidiak able to nick it off her toes. Has to concede another corner kick though. Addie Caspers has come on with a real bit of energy here. It's the only switch from last week's starting 11. She went to the bench so that Hawkesby could start. So she's on to prove a point here. And Mackenzie Hawkesby will take this corner. Hawkesby to a pack of players. Tobin with the header, and somehow it's gone over the bar. Abby Lemon, at least in the referee's view, got the last touch. That's extraordinary. Tobin's headed down, and Lemon is perhaps thinking that's a point-blank save from Newbon. This angle might tell us more. Yeah, it absolutely is. That is a point-blank save from Courtney Newbon off the shoulder of the goalkeeper. And Abby Lemon, perhaps right to argue, no ref, I didn't miss from only centimetres out. I was denied by a great save. Gielnik. Low. Out into space. Here's Holly Furphy. Round the goalkeeper. Furphy, can she score? Yes, she can! What a debut for Holly Furphy! Forget the famous brothers. It's all about Holly Furphy. She makes it 2-0 for the Melbourne Victory. What a moment for the 22-year-old, back in her hometown after a college stint. And she's thinking, how good's the Ninja A-League? Round the oncoming keeper, steadied with a couple of players on the line, and put it in the back of the net to make it 2-0. And sometimes the script is just written for moments like this. And Victory, well, they are closing in on not just 3 points, but top spot on the live league table. And I'm sure a lot of Indiana Pacers fans have a new favourite soccer player. So Sydney FC just as they were getting into the game and looking dangerous, they now have to go to the well. 12 minutes to try and get something out of this Big Blue. Otherwise, Victory will win their third Big Blue in a row. Caspers. Still Caspers, can't find a way past Murphy. Gilnick. Thompson, back to Chevet. Tobin remains in midfield, even after falling 2-0 down. Whoop, that was kitchen sink stuff there from Tobin. Didn't get the ball, and thankfully for Tobin, didn't get the player either. Maybe that's indicative of the desperation Sydney still feel. They won't want to give up on this because they have created chances frequently throughout this second half. They just need one to plant the seed of doubt. Newbon out to the edge of the box, and Lemon's there, but not able to get to the ball. Ibini. Lemon. Cleared by Curtis. Rachel Lowe. Starting to become a track meet this game. So many gaps. The runners can go to work. Furphy. Left the ball with Chidiac, but she's immediately under the pump. Now the ball at the feet of Tori Tumeth. Alana Murphy. Through ball here, Gilnick's turn to go for a chase. And she's going to catch Jordan Thompson. And another sub, Shay Connors. Last time Shay Connors was at Amy Park, it was happy memories. It was scoring the match-winning goal in last year's grand final. And she hasn't scored a goal since. So with 10 minutes of regulation to go, Connors comes on for Princess Ibini. And maybe a return to Amy Park is the answer to get the goals coming again for the American number 9. And with that change, Sydney FC have brought on all of the outfielders that they had on the bench for this one. Connors, Lemon, Luchtmeyer and Caspers all subbed into the game over the course of this second half. Here is Caspers combining with Lemon. And they can't keep possession for Sydney. When these teams last met at Allianz Stadium in late December, Victory dropped anchor and shut the game down, holding on to a 1-0 scoreline. They haven't started milking every second off the clock just yet, but you know what a Jeff Hopkins coached team is capable of when the finish line gets in sight. For now, they are happy to keep playing positive football, perhaps recognising that Sydney FC going to leave them plenty of gaps and take plenty of risks. Bunge. Put down by Tobin. Bryson, Tobin. That pass, well, it's found Princess Ibini, but unfortunately, she's off. It's been subbed out of the game. Ante Juric still full of chat, the patter of the sideline. One of the soundtracks of the game. Pickett. Neat little interplay by Flannery and Lowe. Now Gilnick. Plenty of space here to pinpoint across. Gilnick bides her time. Now lifts it in. Too close to the keeper. Edwards plucks it out of the air. Is keen to start the counter-attack here, but Luchtmeyer will see that the channels are blocked out on the right flank, so goes backwards instead. There's the shot on goal count. Sydney FC, more shots for the entire game. But they're They're still yet to find one that can hit the back of the net for them. Connors denied the ball by Bunge. Connors back in. Sydney FC get the throw. Bryson lifts it to the edge of the box. Chidiak's turn to head it away. Furphy round the corner. Lemon, crossfield ball. Furphy, Luchtmeyer takes over for Sydney. Chevet, back to Thompson. Amber Luchtmeyer. Who's going to find the killer pass for Sydney? Lemon turns and looks at the penalty area, lifts in the cross, and there's no one home. And that lets the air out of the balloon as far as Sydney are concerned. A lot of passes in the build-up there, but none of them right near the edge of the penalty area. None of them really threatening. And it was finally time for the money ball, and ultimately it was sailed out. And Courtney Newbon here is going to take every second possible. There are some Sydney FC fans. Of course, today's game is a double-header, so they'll have a healthy away bay for the men's game, and many of the travelling fans have made their way in already for the Ninja A-League 2. Furphy, Chidiak. Morrison's long ball onto the head of Thompson. Caspers. Matty Caspers trying to keep it moving. Connors, the most recent Sydney sub, trying to use her greatest weapon, her speed, sends the ball into the box, and it's cleared by Alana Murphy to the safety of the line. And now only 5 minutes of regulation remain in the match for Sydney FC. They're still chasing. They're playing with belief. What they need is a bit of execution to go with it. So they now lead the XG for the game. I imagine that Abby Lemon chance that was saved at point-blank range by Courtney Newbon had a lot to do with that. Lemon. Pickett eventually had Bunge on. Bunge's pass. Leapt onto by Bryson. Commits again. Caspers. And Murphy in the right spot to stop Sydney in their tracks. Furphy and Murphy. That was going to happen eventually. Here's Morrison. Dispossessed. Connors defending from the front. Morrison has to get back in. The two Americans dueling. And then Curtis, only as far as Tumeth. Connors, locked away by Curtis. Sydney FC have got Melbourne Victory defending behind the ball here. But can they find a player in position to shoot? Right now, Courtney Newbon is organising rather than saving, as every goalkeeper would prefer it. Here's Bryson now. Newbon sets herself and catches on the line. And maybe had to with Amber Luchtmeyer right there for any spill. Faye Bryson decided to go for it, and it dipped in time. Newbon trying to hold on for what would be a 6th clean sheet in 13 games. Gilnick, well, that looked like a handball, but the referee lets it slide. Lemon, Caspers, onto the head of Curtis. The ball is out off Bryson here, and every time it stops and it's Victory's possession, it will be walking pace stuff now. Jeff Hopkins playing ball boy. Pickett down the line. Gilnick, does she go to the corner? Victory going to show their hand here? Not yet. Not just yet. Victory throw. Well, Sydney FC, it was well documented that they hadn't scored 2 goals in a game all season. They were on a streak of 14 matches since they'd scored 2 in a match, and then they did it against Canberra. The goals have dried up since. This would be consecutive games without scoring. If they can't at least grab one, it remains their bugbear this season, the Sky Blues and the defending champions. They are the lowest scoring team in the league. They're the only team not even in double figures yet. 9 goals scored in what is game 13 of the campaign. Chidiac, the ball spills. Caspers was chasing but couldn't get there before Bunge. And now away goes Lowe. Gilnick holds the ball up. Gilnick, and now Holly Furphy. He's happy to leave it with Lowe. And Vickery just, well, you don't even need to take it to the corner when you've got nice open passes like this down the right end of the pitch as far as they're concerned. Keeping the ball. Sydney FC chasing shadows. Murphy, last minute of regulation. We had 4 minutes of stoppage in the first half, but we did have 2 significant delays in the first half for injury. We haven't had that in the second. Bunge eventually goes for a long ball, and, well, Sydney FC won't mind that because they get possession back. And they can try to go end-to-end here. Chevet to Tobin. He's got to turn and go. Lemon backtracking. Did she keep it in? She didn't. Pickett, as has happened quite a few times in the game, produces a throw-in that buys another throw-in. Another 10 or 15 metres down the line. We've ticked into stoppage, of which there will be 4 minutes. Sydney FC in need of a bit of a miracle from here. Melbourne Victory are going to at least put the pressure on Melbourne City before they travel to Wanderers Football Park this weekend. They will be taking on the last place team, but they will do so knowing that they'll need something. A draw would take them back to the top of the league, but they'll obviously be aiming for a win. Murphy, great little turn to step out of trouble. Lowe to Flannery. Pickett. Chidiac. Well, it is starting to resemble when they met at Allianz. Sydney just can't get the ball. They can't get anything going to chase the game and attack. Victory are keeping possession, and Gilnick says, well, do I take it to the corner or do I look for a third here? You're not scaring me. And eventually Thompson wrestles the ball away. Thompson. Connors can't keep possession. Victory ball again. And Rosie Curtis. It's about as long as we've seen her out on the pitch in a Ninja A-League game. As I mentioned, she's never started, but she's put her hand up today. And if they do lose Alana Janchevsky to concussion protocol, Melbourne Victory will have to think about who is our next option at left back. Victory next play. Well, they've got an extra day's break, Sunday the 1st of February. It's a pretty important game too. They play Melbourne City. Newbond's clearance. Half of stoppage time has expired. Fans making their way in. Sydney FC away bay. Can't help but think that Sydney FC might have appreciated the support for their women's team today, especially when they were chasing the game at 1-0 down. It's a yellow card here. Faye Bryson picks up a late ticket for the foul on Chidiac. Of course, regardless of how Melbourne City go this weekend, next week's Melbourne derby will be first versus second on the ladder. This result would mean that neither team could be displaced from their hold on the top two. So that really does raise the stakes. We've seen a Melbourne derby in an elimination final. Now we'll see it for top of the table at the 14-game mark of the season. And, well, the cards are coming thick and fast at the end of the game. Nat Tobin gets a booking as well. So in two phases of play, Faye Bryson and Nat Tobin have both picked up a yellow. And this time it was Flannery who was the player that the foul was inflicted upon. So the frustration starting to come out at the end of what it looks like will be Sydney FC's 7th defeat in 13 games this season. Melbourne Victory managing this to the finish line. Gielnek, do they go for a third here, the Victory? Chidiac, happy to leave it with Lowe. Only 20 seconds left to negate. Sydney FC, they created a heap of chances in the second half. They had plenty of opportunity when they were only 1-0 down. But the finishing touch that's evaded them this season, the league's lowest scoring team, has struck again. And it looks as though Melbourne Victory are going to keep a clean sheet, and Courtney Newbon will have 6 clean sheets in 13 appearances this campaign. Stoppage time is up at the end of Big Blue number 32. There's been a collision off the ball between Murphy and Connors, and that curiosity is the final act of the game. Melbourne Victory do the season double over Sydney FC, and they do so without conceding a goal. For the first time in the history of the Big Blue, Melbourne Victory win 3 in a row. And there's the story. Holly Furphy on Ninja A-League debut, back from college in America to her hometown Melbourne Victory. She scored the sealer, and that's after Alana Janchevsky's marvellous free kick, which you will see in every highlight reel between now and the end of the season when we talk about goal of the year, is what set the tone back in the 4th minute. Jeff Hopkins does it again. Melbourne Victory are top of the league today. And Melbourne City, their turn to try and dislodge them. Doesn't that whet the appetite for the Melbourne derby? But the Big Blue is over. Melbourne Victory 2, Sydney FC 0. So let's take a look at the goals, and they were 2 very good goals. Alana Janchevsky in just the 4th minute with this free kick into the corner, unsavable. And even though she had to leave the game at half-time, Janchevsky, that is one of the great highlights of her career. And it's one of the great Ninja A-League goals, you've got to say.